The catalogue of life on Earth is a profoundly unfinished work. We walk upon a world teeming with mysteries, a planet where an estimated 85% of terrestrial species and a staggering 90% of marine life remain entirely unknown to science. The abyss holds more secrets than we have names for. Yet even this shadow of ignorance is dwarfed by a far greater truth: that 99% of all species that have ever lived are gone forever. Their stories concluded, their biological dynasties turned to dust and stone. Extinction is the rule, survival the rarest of exceptions. But sometimes, in the deep archives of the planet, a story thought long over reveals a final, unread chapter. Sometimes, a creature pronounced dead by the authority of geologic time is, impossibly, still alive. This is not merely about species lost a few decades ago, but about phantoms from a primordial past. Life forms whose era was believed to have ended millions of years ago. By 1938, the case of the coelacanth was considered closed. Its existence was a fact proven only by fossils, a ghost fish that haunted Mesozoic seas. Scientists were certain it had vanished from the Earth alongside the dinosaurs, some 66 million years before. And yet, experts knew its lineage was far, far older. This creature had navigated the world's oceans for more than 360 million years, making it an astonishing 290 million years senior to the Tyrannosaurus rex. But its age was only part of its legend. The coelacanth was a crucial piece of the evolutionary puzzle. Vertebrate migration from water to land. It was considered a vital link, a direct representative of the lineage from which all terrestrial vertebrates, including humankind, would eventually emerge. It was our own distant aquatic ancestor locked away in the fossil record. No one could have possibly imagined that this pivotal character in life's grand narrative was still swimming in the dark. Then came the 22nd of December, 1938. Off the coast of South Africa, a fishing trawler dragged its nets through the depths. From a profundity of about 70 meters, it hauled up a bizarre and magnificent catch. It was a creature none of the crew could identify, a great primeval fish, nearly 2.5 meters long and weighing 50 kilograms, its body clad in armored blue scales. Pulled from the crushing pressure of its deep home, it was already dead. But its mystery had just begun. The question, what is this animal, was the one that consumed Marjorie Courtney Latimer, the curator of the local East London Museum. As she examined the strand upon a revolutionary sensation, she made a detailed sketch and sent it to Professor J.L.B. Smith, a renowned ichthyologist. Upon seeing the drawing, the story goes, he was overcome with a shock that bordered on disbelief. He was looking at a ghost rendered in pencil. There was no doubt in his mind, this was a coelacanth. The discovery was a scientific miracle, a resurrection that defied the accepted timelines of natural history. The creature was given a name in honor of the woman who recognized its importance: Latimeria chalumnae. Though it is often called a living fossil, the term is not entirely accurate. The first coelacanth to be seen by modern eyes was, ironically, dead. But its discovery sent a powerful shockwave through our understanding of the world, a humbling reminder that the final chapter is never truly written, and that in the deep, silent archives of the planet, history is not always past. 14 years would pass. a silent, expectant void in the annals of science, before a second specimen of this ancient relict would surface. It appeared 3,000 kilometers from the first, a staggering distance that only deepened the enigma. The discovery was registered in the deep channels between the Comoro Islands and Madagascar. But here, the story took an unexpected turn. To the astonishment of the scientific community, this living fossil was no stranger to the local fishermen. They had a name for it: Combessa. For generations, they had pulled it from the depths, a strange and incidental catch. They found little use for it, its flesh oily and unpalatable. It was a ghost from the abyss, known but not understood. And yet, this particular specimen, the one that would confirm the creature's continued existence, was already dead when it was hauled from the water. The promise of a living encounter remained just that, a promise. It was now clear that somewhere in the crushing darkness of the Indian Ocean, coelacanths were still alive, but proving it would take decades more. The final confirmation of this living miracle is owed to the persistence of biologist Hans Fricker and the steady hand of submersible pilot Jürgen Schauer. On the 17th of January 1987, they sealed the hatch of the research submersible Geo and began their descent into the volcanic slopes off the Comoros coast. Down they went, into a world of immense pressure and absolute black, pierced only by the vessel's searchlights. And there, in the cold, silent depths, history was made. They looked directly into the eyes of a creature from the Carboniferous, a giant armored fish, its fins moving with the slow, deliberate grace of nascent limbs. They captured the encounter on camera, a phantom made real. The sensational footage rippled across the globe, a message from deep time. It was proof that our planet still held secrets of an almost unimaginable age. But the story was not yet complete. The world of the coelacanth was about to expand in a way no one could have predicted. In 1997, and again in 1998, new specimens were found. Not in the deep sea, not by explorers in a submersible, but laid out for sale in the bustling fish market of Manado Tua in Indonesia. These dead animals were being sold nearly 10,000 kilometers from the Comoro Islands. This discovery was seismic, revealing not one, but two distinct surviving populations. Science now recognized the Comoran coelacanth and its Indonesian cousin, two living species of a family thought to have vanished with the dinosaurs. From a paleontological perspective, these two survivors are but the last whisper of a once thriving dynasty. The fossil record reveals some 70 different species across 28 genera. This raises a profound question. Are these creatures our direct ancestors? Early experts believed so, hailing the coelacanth as the definitive missing link that crawled from the sea. That assessment has since been refined. While the coelacanth is no longer seen as the specific ancestor that brought life ashore, it remains a vital transitional form. It is not our great-grandfather, but perhaps a great-uncle, a member of the family that shows us the raw materials of evolution. We are dealing with a kind of living prototype, a fish whose pelvic and pectoral fins contain a bone structure that is an unmistakable blueprint for the arms and legs of terrestrial vertebrates. This anatomical design was the key, the evolutionary experiment that, millions of years later, would allow other creatures to abandon the sea and conquer the land. The sheer persistence of this animal, Its journey through epochs that saw the rise and fall of countless other species forces us to confront fundamental questions of survival. It is estimated that 99.9% of all life that has ever existed on Earth is now extinct. Yet the coelacanth endures. What ancient wisdom is encoded in its genes? What pact did it make with time, allowing it to drift unchanged through the wreckage of fallen epochs, a silent witness to the great unfolding drama of life on Earth? In the great chronicle of life, among the most astonishing answers are those that begin with an admission: we simply do not know. And when it comes to the coelacanth, the ancient fish that swam out of the abyss of prehistory and into the nets of the 20th century, our ignorance remains profound. Subjective viewpoints, and even mounting evidence, suggest a startling possibility: that this creature is not some masterful survivor honed by eons of trial. Instead, it may be something far stranger: an accidental holdover, a ghost clinging to existence through sheer inertia. What we have managed to decipher, however, reveals a method of predation as alien as the crushing, lightless world it inhabits. It was not until the late 1990s that a team of researchers from Germany's Max Planck Institute managed to affix tracking devices to the Indonesian coelacanths, Phenalaples entirely its own. There is no violent burst of speed, no lightning-fast pursuit characteristic of a shark, nor is there the patient, coiled stillness of an ambush predator. The coelacanth simply drifts. It moves forward in a slow, spectral procession, a phantom in the deep. Prey that passes to its right or left is utterly ignored, as if it exists in another dimension. Only that which drifts directly into the path of its waiting mouth is consumed. What appears, at first glance, to be a profoundly inefficient strategy is, in reality, a masterclass in conservation. In this hunt, almost no energy is expended. Consequently, the coelacanth's daily caloric needs are astonishingly low. In the extreme, low-competition environment of the deep ocean, a world of scarcity and immense pressure, this languid approach is not a weakness. It is the perfect formula for long-term survival. Yet this raises a more fundamental question. Beyond the mechanics of its survival, is the coelacanth truly a living fossil in the classical sense? In other words, is the fish we see today an unchanged replica of the ancestors that navigated Mesozoic seas millions of years ago? Or has it too been shaped by the ceaseless grind of evolution? The evidence confirms that time has not, in fact, stood still. The last known significant evolutionary step for the coelacanth occurred between 2 and 11 million years ago. It was during this period that the Comoran coelacanths diverged from their Indonesian cousins, creating the two distinct species known to science today. Given its immense history, one might assume this fish possesses an unshakable resilience, that nothing could truly threaten its existence. The reality is precisely the opposite. Its long tenure on this planet has not made it invincible. It has made it fragile. Today, we know of only 2 modern species, yet the fossil record has yielded over 70 distinct forms. Researchers now believe that of the 9 great families of coelacanths that once flourished, only a single lineage has survived to the present day. But who is to say what other shadows lurk in unexplored canyons and seamounts? What other representatives of this ancient order we have simply not yet found? Perhaps one day, another name will be struck from the long list of the extinct. We must remember that the coelacanth is far from the only creature to experience this so-called Lazarus Effect. The Fernandina Island Galapagos giant tortoise, believed lost for over a century, can speak to this phenomenon. So too can the La Gomera giant lizard, the Chacoan peccary, or the Bavarian pine vole. All specters return to the world of the living. It is here, at the boundary of the known and the lost, that the story becomes more intriguing still. It is where the world of supposedly extinct animals intersects with the realm of myth and legend. For generations, the Caritiana people have passed down stories of a creature that stalks the Brazilian jungles by night, a monster from a forgotten time. These tales, once dismissed as folklore, now resonate with a new meaning. They are whispers from the dark, hints that the catalogue of life is not a closed book, but a text with entire chapters yet to be read. It serves as a profound reminder that extinction is a declaration made by humanity, not a final verdict delivered by the planet itself. The Earth, it seems, has not yet revealed all of its ghosts. From the unseen depths of the Amazon, whispers speak of a creature known as the Mapinguari. According to local testimony, its soul-chilling cries echo through the canopy, a warning of a predator that sometimes hunts humans. The theory suggests this terrifying legend conceals a scientific truth. A giant ground sloth, thought to have vanished from the Earth thousands of years ago, has somehow survived, concealed within the vast, unexplored wilderness. In the world's last great jungle, some legends may be more than stories. They may be echoes from a forgotten age.